Hi everyone, I'm Kelly and this is my channel Kel's Stitches. Today I am going to do a stitch with me and we are stitching on this one, which is The Fox by Cottage Garden Samplings. It is from the first in the series of The Year in the Woods. So I'm going to attempt to stitch, count and talk all at the same time. I have got a new angle on my stitch with me, so I hope that my hand doesn't get in the road too much of the view of my stitching, and I hope my fat head doesn't make an appearance every now and then in the corner of the camera. So I didn't do a stitch with me a couple of weeks ago because I was sick with the flu and I was it just wasn't good. I was pretty sick. I spent 3 days in bed with uncontrollable shivers and coughing, constant coughing fits. And by that Monday, I still wasn't feeling the best. I got back, was still coughing and didn't sound the best, so I didn't bother doing a stitch with me. And since then, we have had Hell Week at work, which is the July Racing Carnival. Hell Week, where do I start with that? Well, probably start at the beginning, I suppose. And so the start of it on the Friday before everything went down, one of our seniors called in early Friday morning and let us know that she had tested positive to COVID, so that knocked her out for a week, which was very convenient considering that it was the week of the racing carnival. But she couldn't help it. She couldn't help catching COVID. And luckily she got over it relatively quickly. She's back at work this week. Here in Australia, you do only have to isolate for 7 days. As long as you test negative on that seventh day, you're free to get out and about and go back to work and do all your things. So anyway, yep, she rang in on the Monday, so that put us a staff member down from the get-go, on the Friday, I should say, and that put us a staff member down. We spent Friday and Saturday, they were 14-hour days preparing food for the Sunday, which was the first day of the races. And let me just say, we've got two ends that we cater. We have the VIP end, which is up where the mounting yard and the finishing line and all that is. And then we have the other end, which we call the dog end, which is down near the Greyhound dog track. The VIP end wasn't too bad. It only had, I think, 120 guests at it, so that wasn't too bad. We handled it perfectly. We had everything organised and set and everyone was happy up there. It was the dog end track that caused the issues. We had 450 people in one tent and then another 70 odd people in another tent, and then there was 2 other marquees that had a fair few people. So down that end, I think there was like 600-700 people that they had to feed down there. And it was hectic. We were all packed up and everything done by the last race, by the time the last race had jumped. And so we headed down that end to see how they were going. We probably shouldn't have. We should have just went back to the cafe and started the cleanup and everything and the prep for the next 2 days. But we headed down there and we got stuck down there helping those guys down there. It was hectic. They were still feeding them, still sending out food at that time. So we got over that, and then our next, that's Sunday morning. The Saturday we'd spent prepping a lot of food, and on the Sunday on the Saturday night we took a lot of food out to the cool rooms that they had out there for us, so we didn't have to do it in the morning because we were going to be busy enough as it was. So we took a lot of our prepped food out there, thinking that all was good. And it probably would have been if the cool room had have been working properly. Well, the cool room at the dog end had have been working properly. We got there Sunday morning to put more stuff in the cool room, and the cool room door was frozen over. I didn't think anything of it. I just thought, it's winter. We had a big frost overnight, and being a cool room, it just iced over. So we put the stuff in there, headed back to the shop to get another load. And by that time, I'm just going to move this arm over so my Q-snap sits on there a little bit better without slipping. That's better. So yeah, they then some of the kitchen staff took some stuff out or went out to start getting things ready for kickoff at 12 o'clock. And they discovered that the cool room was running too cold and had frozen everything. So the meats and the skewers and the party pies and all that sort of stuff, that wasn't a problem. We just had to pull them out of the cool room and let them defrost. The problem was all our soft things that were in there, like the lettuces, the cucumbers, baby spinach, all that sort of soft stuff that once it freezes, it is no good. So lucky there was still some of us back at the shop, and we could bring more out. But the problem is, here in Australia at the moment, lettuces, iceberg lettuce, are costing anywhere between $7 to $9 a lettuce, and we needed dozens of them. So it was quite a big shock, and we had to go and buy some more lettuces and spinach and all that sort of stuff. So that put us on the back foot straight up. I'm going to move this one as well. Still just a little bit too far. There we go. That should be right. Tighten it up. There we go. That's better. So yeah, that was setback number 1 on Sunday. Once we got over that hurdle, it was fine. Everything went according to plan, apparently, until Monday morning, and reports started to come in from the big tent that had 450 people in it, that half of the people, or a lot of the people in the tent, barely got any food. Now, I don't know how that happened, because we definitely sent out plenty of food. The only thing I could think of is because we had young wait staff and there was a lot of rowdy boys in that marquee, that as the girls were coming through the door, the lads were all just honing in on the girls and taking everything, and the girls didn't have enough, can I say, balls about them to push their way through and to tell the boys to get out of the road. They had other people to feed. That also comes down to the lack of management from the other senior wait staff member that was down that way. Yeah, she obviously wasn't doing her job properly. Anyway, so we got over that. Spent Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday spent Monday and Tuesday preparing for race days, Wednesday and Thursday. Now, we'd sent a lot of food out to the VIP end. We'd already had the issue with the dog end cool room. We sent a lot of food out, or we'd left a bit of food out there that would have been fine to keep for them couple of days. Kitchen staff got out to the track on Wednesday morning to discover that the cool room at the VIP end had stopped working sometime between Monday morning and Wednesday morning, and it was running at a lovely temperature of 17 degrees with all of our food still in it. So all of that food was no good to be served to our guests. At this stage, we had 2 hours to get enough food together to feed 200 people. To say it was a stretch is a understatement. It was ridiculous. The kitchen was going flat out. I mean, how are you expected to cook full chicken breasts and lamb roasts and beef roasts and all that sort of stuff in 2 hours to feed 200 people? So we cobbled together what we could and put them out, and yes, there was a few people that complained about the food because it wasn't what they were used to in previous years, and I just politely explained to them what had happened with the cool room and stuff, and that we'd done the best we could in 2 hours. What I really felt like saying to them was, shut the hell up. You got no idea what we've just been through. You're lucky you got fed at all. It got to the point that a whole lot of us at the VIP end were ready to walk away. Just walk away and quit. Because it was just ridiculous what we were expected to do. But like the troopers we are, we pulled together and got it done. And then we all went back to the shop to prepare for Thursday. And Thursday was even bigger at the VIP end. There was over 300 people there. Luckily, we'd left one chef back at the cafe all day Wednesday to prepare what he could for Thursday. Thursday went off without a hitch. By that time, all the cool rooms had been fixed and everything like that. So that was that. But yes, Hell Week, it definitely is there. I think for about 5 days, everyone worked 14 to 16 hour days, shifts, just to get things done. And then on the Friday, once everything was over and done with, we had to go back to the track and cart all of the shit back to the cafe. And you know, that's not the fun part. No one wants to do the pack down and the clean up. So everything just gets dumped back in the hall at the cafe and no one wants to clean it up. So that was me. I spent a good majority of Friday packing everything away and making sure it was all clean and everything to go back into its rightful place. Lucky, the boss knew how exhausted I was, and one of the other seniors stepped up and said that she would work the weekend for me. So I got the weekend off, which was really good because I hadn't stitched all week from the previous Saturday. I hadn't stitched at all, and it was really starting to get on me. Stitching is my de-stress of an afternoon when I come home. So even if I only stitch for an hour or 2 hours, that is what helps me just calm down after work. But I hadn't stitched all week and I was starting to get a little bit itchy. So I had the weekend off and I got some really good numbers in on my projects that I worked on. But yes, that was Hell Week at work. We do it every year. This year was just a little bit harder than most with the cool room incidences and that sort of stuff. But we're used to working on the fly. And you've got to think that we are not working in professional kitchens out at the racetrack. You've just got to think of a big marquee, like a big wedding marquee, and we have all portable equipment in there. So small deep fryer, couple of portable ovens, stove tops, microwaves, all that sort of stuff that we're just working with. Yes, not professional kitchens by any means, but that's how we have done things for a long time, and we always get the food out to the customers. Well, when it's catering out like that anyway. But yeah, hopefully things will start to settle down at work now, but looking at the bookings book, I don't think it's going to. We've got a couple of dinners, big dinners and stuff on coming up in the next week or couple of weeks. I won't be having any days off for a couple of weeks because one of our seniors, we only have 3 seniors that work out the front. So myself and 2 others. The one with COVID, that had COVID, she's back. The other one has gone on holidays for 2 weeks. So that means that I have to work every day because none of the juniors are capable of doing an opening shift or anything like that. So I won't have day off for a couple of weeks. And to make matters even better, we always laugh and say race week, it either makes you or breaks you. So since race week finished, we've had a chef quit, and he's done race week with us a few times, a couple of years, and obviously this year was just too much for him. And we've had a junior front of house quit with no explanation. Maybe she didn't like being yelled at by me on the Wednesday, because all the young ones were standing in the kitchen marquee, just standing around having a good old chat and on their phones while I'm running around like a raving lunatic. And they were having a good old chat and laugh and everything, and I came belting around the door and I just yelled at them and said, "You're not getting paid to stand here and talk. Get out there and do your bloody jobs." And they scattered. They went in all directions, which was quite funny. But it got them moving and got them doing their job. So maybe she just didn't like that. We won't really know, I suppose. So now we're on the hunt for some more wait staff and another chef. But that's what has been happening with work. So, yeah. Oh, where am I up to? I am really enjoying working on the fox. He's really cute. They just released the 9th one, which is a woodpecker. Well, they haven't actually released it. That won't come out until the 1st of August. But they have released the picture of what it will be, and it's a woodpecker. So there has been some speculation of what the rest of the animals are going to be. I was wondering if there was going to be a skunk, or someone else said a deer. Maybe a deer is going to be the December one, which will round off the winter creatures. Yeah, there's been a few ideas out there, but I suppose we'll just have to wait and see what comes up. Yes, I am really enjoying stitching on this. There is a Sal running on Instagram. The hashtag, it is hashtag a year in the woods SH Sal. And it is being ran by Mel Rouvray. So if anyone wants to jump in on that, just message Mel and she will add you to our chat group on Instagram. But yes, I am stitching the fox on. I'm going to do all the animals on one big piece of fabric. It is fabric that I dyed myself. It is 18 count Aida. And I dyed it using a cocoa brown with just a dash, tiniest little bit of tangerine orange in it, which gives it a little bit of orangey colouring here and there. Now, I'm probably not going to be able to tell you exactly how many stitches I have done on this by the time we're finished, because it is a paper pattern and I am not counting, stitching and talking to you guys at the same time. Something is going to get stuffed up and I don't want to have to go back and frog everything. So I'll give you a rough estimate of probably approximately how many, maybe not, stitches I've got into it. Alright, so a few things I have been asked is full or tent stitch. All of my projects are full cross. I just like the look of the full cross. I haven't tried tent stitch as of yet, and I don't know if I will try it. You never know, I might get the itch to do it one day and get a project done quicker, but I really do like the process of the full cross. It is, yeah, nothing against anyone who does tent stitch, and I can understand why when you're doing like your supersized haids and stuff like that are huge projects. I can understand why you want to do tent, because it goes so much quicker and you get to the end just that little bit quicker than what you would if it was full cross. But yeah, I do prefer the look of full cross. As I said, you never know, I may one day cave in and attempt or try tent stitch. Another one was center or corner start. So depends on the project. Something like this is a corner start because I had to count in from one side, count in to allow for that 12th animal to go in. So I had to count in from there and count down, like come down. Something like all my full coverages from Artisy and Pain-Free Crafts, Charting Creations, all of those I like to start in the center. That way I know that my project is relatively centered on my fabric, just in case I've miscalculated and made a stuff up. I do like to know that it will be centered on the fabric as best as it can be. So my big full coverages are center starts. Any samplers, long dog samplers, I start generally in the top left corner. I'm a lefty, so I generally start top left for everything if I do a corner start. Another thing I like about center starts is that is generally where the focus of the piece is. So you get to the best bits first. And that way, once I do a page, so I work by page. I've probably explained this once before. I work by page. And once I finish that center page, I can decide to go in any direction I want. I can go to the left, I can go to the right, I can go up, I can go down. It's completely up to me where I decide to go to. So most of the time I will get the center row of pages done. And then I will go from there, whether I go upwards or downwards. But yeah, I do generally try to get the center row completed. That's my logic for that. I like starting in the center because, as I said, you do mainly start on the focus of the project. I know with a lot of Hades probably especially, there is a lot of, you start in the corners. Unless you're doing a bookshelf, Amy Stewart bookshelf or something like that, there is a lot. Oh, shit. Let me just unpick this. But yeah, I know with Hades there is a lot of background before you start getting to any of the focus of the project. So yeah. And another one is subjects. What subjects I like to stitch? Well, this is not going to come as any surprise to anyone who has watched any of my videos or has watched my channel from the start. I mainly focus on horses, wolves, and Native American. They are my go-to subjects. Anything that contains those is a must-have most of the time. I am very, very particular on my horse patterns. I'm breeding horses myself. They have to look, or the pattern, the horses in the pattern have to look right. They have to look correct. Otherwise they tend to look more cartoonish. And the horses have to look right. I'm not going to stitch it if it looks weird or out of shape or has a funny head or anything like that. So some of my favorite artists are Cynthia Fisher, Abraham Hunter, who else? There is a couple of others. Oh, Laurie Prindle. Only thing with that is Haid is the only full coverage designer at the moment that does Laurie Prindle, patterns. I'm not the biggest fan of Aida. That stems back to a few issues I have had with their customer service years ago. I'm not going to get into it, and I'm just going to leave it as that. But it doesn't stop me from buying any of their patterns. She has some absolutely gorgeous artwork on her site, but I will only stitch minis from Aida as well. I won't try not to go a regular size, and I definitely wouldn't go a super size, and that's only because I'm a process stitcher, so I like the process of the stitching. I don't fully finish a lot of my projects, mainly because once I'm done with them, I'm done with them. Once I've stitched them, that's it. And the other thing is, I do a lot of big full coverages that are like 30 odd inches by 30 inches, and I just don't have the wall space to hang them all. So I like the process of the stitching. The fully finished completion isn't a big thing for me. But yeah, so that is getting back to Aida's. Oh yeah, I will only do minis. There is a few of the artwork that I would love to have in a mini, but I refuse to pay a resizing fee for the chart and then have to pay for the chart on top of it. And when there are other designers that will rechart in a smaller size for nothing. They will do it for no fee whatsoever, and you just buy the resized chart. So yeah, I won't do that. I refuse to do it. So, but I really would love for another designer to pick up Laurie Prindle or Lisa Parker, as long as they weren't exclusive to Aida. But yeah, they are my subjects: horses, wolves, and Native American. I do branch out into the odd other things like tigers and other animals. It's really got to catch my eye. Any pattern that I have, I've only got it because I absolutely love it. It needs to catch my eye, draw my attention. So if I have it, it's because I absolutely love it. If I don't have it, it's probably because I'm either not that fussed with it, or I am trying to ease back on my buying of charts, which isn't very successful most of the time when designers keep bringing out these magnificent projects and you're just like, I've got to do it. It really is true. Stitching and buying stitching stuff are two completely different hobbies. Okay, what else can I talk about? Okay, so I did get a question I think it was on my first stitch with me. I think it might have been Danielle that asked this question. It's not stitching related, it was just something that she thought I could answer for a bit of content or something like that. The question was, if I owned an island, whereabouts and what would I call it? Well, you know, I already live on the biggest island on Earth, Australia. And I think it is pretty darn good in itself. But if I owned my own island, I think it would have to be off the coast of Australia somewhere. Probably not down south because I think that'd be a little bit too cold. Anywhere off the coast of Australia from New South Wales up to Queensland, even over on the other side of Western Australia, anywhere over there. That's where I probably would want it to be, because the weather is lovely. It's Australian weather is lovely, so I couldn't see why an island would be any different. But what would I call it? That is a good question. I could call it something naff like Kel's Retreat or something like that, but I wouldn't do that. I would probably actually research the region that it was in, and I would get permission from one of the tribal elders, whether it was Aboriginal or South Sea Islander. I'd get permission from one of them to use a native word to name the island. So I can't really tell you what I would call it straight offhand, but that's what I'd do. I would definitely give it a native name. So yeah, I think that is pretty much all I've really got to chat about. Let me see, what are we up to? Nearly 45 minutes. I think that's not too bad. I know I mentioned I gave a shout out to Nicole, North Island Stitcher, in my update last week. And we have another brand newie to Floss Tube, Judy, who is also in New Zealand. Her channel is An Aussie in a Kiwi World. She had a little bit of encouragement from Darren, Alara, Nicole, and myself to jump in and do her first Floss Tube, which she'd done on the weekend. She'd done an amazing job. It was just a small introduction to herself and to some of her finishes and some of her projects that she's currently stitching on. She did promise a whip parade later down the track, which she's a little scared to do because she really doesn't know how many actual whips she's got. So to actually do a whip parade is going to give her a full idea of how many she really does have. So that's going to be interesting. So that is Judy, an Aussie in a Kiwi world. She has done her first floss tube, so jump on over, guys, and show her some love and let her know that I sent you her way. She is actually in one of our chat groups for one of our games, or one of the games that I play. I've said this a few times that there's a couple of chat groups I'm in, and everybody on there has become my stitchy family, as I call them, because we just gel so well, get on so well. A lot of our thoughts and ideas and morals and all that are exactly the same. So it is amazing to find other people that love stitching as well. That's what I didn't do on my last update. I said that I would tell you about some of my stitchy games, and I completely forgot. So the stitchy games that I play on Facebook, the first one is Survival of the Stitchiest. Now you're in a settlement, and most of the time you just stitch what you can when you can. There is no pressure to stitch certain amounts or anything like that. Even when there's a weekend or a monthly event come up, it is not, you have to stitch 2,000 stitches or you are out. It's an accumulative stitch count, so everyone helps everyone else. You have the ones that have high stitch counts, you have the ones that have a low stitch count, and no one makes anyone feel bad about it. So generally you're just stitching for resources, which is food, water, shelter, all that sort of stuff. And then a weekend event might come up, or a month-long event will come up, and you just stitch until you reach the target goal. At the moment, there is also the individual yearly bounty hunt on there. So you start at, I think, the first animal, and they're all mythological type of animals. First one is 250 stitches and you can claim, and then the next one's 500 stitches and you can claim, and it's a year long, and it's more to see how far you can get, how many stitches you can get in a year done. So that's that one. Then I am also in the Harry Potter stitching game. It's very similar. There is no onus on you to stitch a certain amount of number. You just stitch what you can, and you can post every day or every couple of days, whenever you stitch. You just post whatever you manage to get, and that all goes towards house points. And once again, there may be a weekend event or a monthly event crop up which you just stitch for whatever, and you do get put into teams. You can't choose your team. Usually it's just like usually the admins just put you into whatever team they think needs another member. And another one that I am in is a Stitch Around Australia. It is being ran by Jane through on Dizzy Stitches Facebook page, or group I should say. It is an event being run on there, and it's just you stitch towards each town. So sometimes there's really big stitch totals and sometimes there's not. There is no... It's done in month by month, the travelling, but you don't have to stick to that. You just stitch as you feel or as you can. And that just accumulates, and you just say, I have reached. You make your own post and you just say, yep, I've reached this with this many stitches. And then the fourth one that I am in is Hell's Stitchin'. I actually have my own team on there. There's teams of 4, and it's a cooking game. It is really fun. Only thing with it is there are some small numbers, like you got to post a start pick and then stitch 100 stitches and then post a finish pick, and I know that is not for everyone, because some people just like to stitch until they reach their goal or until they are finished for the day or the evening and then post up. So, but it is fun. You work towards equipping your kitchen, and you work towards earning points for new recipes. There is an event posted at least once a week where as a team it is orders to be done. Sometimes, like, you've got to stitch to equip or fully stock your fridge and your freezer and all of that sort of stuff. So you've got all your ingredients and they have stitch counts, and you stitch to those and you stitch for those. And then when orders are dropped, as you stitch for them, you've got to subtract your ingredients from your ingredients list, and then when the event is over, then you have to restock and stitch again. It is quite a fun game. The only thing is, I don't think there is any teams. We are capped at 4 team members per diner or cafe, restaurant, whatever you want to call us. And I don't think there is actually any teams at the moment that are looking for any members, but you're welcome to jump over and have a look. There's new teams cropping up all the time. But yeah, it is quite a fun game as well. So they're the 4 main ones that I stitch for. That keeps me motivated, keeps me stitching, and stitching towards something. It is probably harder to keep a count when I'm on a paper pattern for some of those. games, but I usually, if I'm not doing a stitch with me and talking and trying to count at the same time and losing my concentration, usually on a paper pattern I will count 20 stitches and make a tally mark, and then I will count another 20 stitches and make a tally mark, and I'll keep doing that until I reach 100, and I'll cross that off with your 5 tally marks, and then I keep going. Sorry about the phone dinging in the background. But yes, that's what I keep. That's what I do. That's how I keep track of my stitch count on paper patterns. I just find it easier to do it like that than to mark them all off and then have to go back and recount. Alright, so I think, what are we up to? 56 minutes. I think I will leave it as that, guys. 56 minutes is pretty good, and I've probably done enough rambling. So yeah, I will leave it as that. Thank you for tuning in and stitching along with me. I hope you got some decent stitches in. Because this is a paper pattern, I can't give you an exact count of what I have stitched, but I would have to, if I was going to guess and estimate, I would say that I have done between 100 to 200 stitches, because I was back up here when I was back up here when we started. So I've got all of this section of the fox's belly done. Yeah, so I'd say, if I had to give a rough guess, I'd say maybe 200 stitches I've got done. So yeah, thank you for tuning in, guys. I will do a whip update on the coming Monday. Let me check the date on that. It will be the 22nd, Monday the 22nd. No, that was August I was looking at. You bloody idiot. Monday the 25th will be my next update. Because I didn't stitch for a week, I have cut my days for each project down to only 1 day each, just to try to get a little bit of progress on all of them to show to you. Otherwise I'd only be showing you 2, and it's probably not really any point. Another thing I'll quickly touch on is a mid-year whip parade. I don't know if I should do one, because I only have 7 or 8 projects anyway, and you basically see them with each update. So I don't think it would be any point doing just a special one for it. I will definitely do one at the end of the year, because I am planning on having a couple of more projects on the go at that point, but I will tell you those plans in my update. So that is my update, and then I hope to do my next stitch with me around about the 1st of August. This one's a day late because I went to the dentist yesterday and one side of my face was so numb that I couldn't really talk properly. I would have sounded like I was slurring and had one too many vodkas or gins, and that wouldn't have probably been, well, it would have been funny, but not so funny. So yes, I'm doing it today. But yeah, my next one will be the 1st of August for my Stitch With Me. If there is a particular project that you want to see on my Stitch With Me, let me know in the comments below, and I will endeavour to get with that. At the moment, I have just been using whatever project is in my rotation at that point in time when I get around to filming. So if there is a particular one, please let me know. I think, what have I done so far? I think I stitched on the tiger and what was the other one? Can't remember. Sensus. Anyway, but yeah, I've stitched on those ones, not that you could see it on the screen. So I'm quite happy to stitch on those again for a Stitch With Me if you like. Leave any questions down below and I will answer them in my next Stitch With Me, just so I've got some content to talk about, because I'm sure you don't want to hear about work all the time. So yeah, thank you for tuning in and sticking around. I hope that you have a great week until I see you next time. And I hope you all stay safe. Until next time, see you all then. Bye.